topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at upnradio.com.
Hi guys, I am Sunny Chayes. This is Singing in the Rain. The Wayne. I've been around my little son too much. And we are here with the fantastic, incredible Leon Campbell Jr. We're going to get right to it today. We are singing in the rain. It is starting to rain out here in LA, which we desperately need, and our trees are so happy about that. And we're going to talk about so many things on our magic carpet today. So come on, just stay with us the whole time because we are going to have some giveaways at the end of the show. And I just want to get right to it. So hello. How are you?
It's so wonderful to be back again.
Yes.
So thank you, Sonny. And singing in the rain. I mean, it's a soundtrack for living. And I just love that. So in spite of whatever you're going through, you can still sing. You can still rise above it and transcend it. Yes.
Yeah, and you can see the rain in a lot of different ways.
Yes.
You know, I was at a beautiful Easter thing in LA, and there was this song that was, I don't know if you know this song. Do you know this song? I dream of rain, and the rains came, and peace fell over the land.
Yes.
I mean, it's such a beautiful song. Yeah. And so it's just like when I heard that, I was like all about, that particular song is about, it's like a native chant about wanting the rain. And it can be that rain, when we were singing it, I felt could be a symbol for anything that we dream of. I dream of whatever it is, and it came, and peace fell over the land. Peace fell over my heart. Peace fell over my life. And so I really, really loved that. And so yes, we love singing in the rain and like that. So I want to jump into a whole bunch of stuff right away.
Let's do it.
So the first thing I want to do is talk about something that we talked about 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago on New Year's Day. We were together in a small group. You may or may not remember.
I think I know what you're going to say.
And we all were talking about kind of what was up with us. And you said, you know what? I want to be seen. I want to be seen. And, of course, I kind of laughed because I thought, you're kind of seen. Like, what's that about? But I know that we have our own thing, even though our friends and family may see us and know us and whatever. Sometimes, even though that is the case, you had that feeling, which sort of broke my heart. And then I saw a seeing of you many more places and all over the place. So I want to kind of start with that and what's happening with you now with getting your music out and like that. So go on in, mister.
Wow. Well, part of the desire to want to be seen is because I knew that there was this major gift that had been given. I knew that it was time to fly. And what I encourage everybody to do is let your light shine. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to be the first. I did a sermon called Catch the Possible, and it was about us dreamers. I talked about John Lennon. I talked about Dr. King. I talked about all these dreamers who dared to face who dared to face humiliation, who dared to step out there with these sort of wacky dreams. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a dreamer. And so I'm not going to stop until my dreams, quote unquote, come true. And the real part of that, which is crucial, is that we catch what's on the inside and give it and birth it. And so,
don't we catch, like, sometimes it can be the connecting or the reflection of something that we might see or feel or witness outside of us, and we catch it because it is also on our inside.
And it's what's emerging. Mm-hmm. It's what's emerging, especially when you step out of your box or your labels. You begin to say, wow, that's strange. But you begin to know that that's what's possible for you.
Yeah. And then I like to say what's probable. And then I like to say what is.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is the fun that I get to have all the time with words because I find myself catching myself in words that are old-fashioned, out of date, over, in other words, which
Yeah.
keep me in a place, and then I catch it with other people. When I'm not saying with you saying that specifically, but I just feel the kind of evolution of vocabulary,
Yes.
like creativity, imagination. These people you're talking about, I mean, Tesla, Keshe, all these scientists, all these people, who have ideas, Elon
Einstein.
Musk, Einstein, and then many people who we might see, these days at Conscious Life Expo, or, just go on, YouTube and just check out what people are inventing, talking about, or going on Facebook and seeing what people are just doing with their art, with their music, with their cooking, with their kids, so much inspiration and so much creativity. And so I'm like all about the creativity right now. It's like my favorite word, because it feels like it kicks me out of my box, and it allows us all to like kick it up, bam, up a notch or two.
And so what's really crucial for me is when you catch these ideas, be aware that within the ideas, everything that's needed for its manifestation. And so
I like that.
we have to place ourselves in a position or in an awareness state that knows that everything that's needed there. So let me begin to listen more as opposed to stepping into the mechanics in a real busy type of way. People get really busybody because they think they've got to make it happen. But it's already there, and guidance, inner guidance is important. And one of the reasons why I bring this up, and I'm glad that you talked about it, is that here I am in my quote unquote in a stage of my life where people are saying, "Why are you doing this album? Why are you creating this? What are you doing? Why are you competing with young artists?" And I said to myself, it wasn't anything. It wasn't about that at all. And I want to encourage people, regardless of their age, to step out. And when you do that, you begin to be rejuvenized, revitalized, and the project, your dream, takes a life of its own.
Whoa. May I just say,
Oh, yes.
because of your age, step out, people.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
do you like that one?
Yes, I love it.
Because of it. Come
Yeah.
on, people. Because I feel like Marianne Williamson and I have had this conversation so many times about what's happening in the 50s, 60s, whatever, the wisdom, the knowledge, the compassion, and the humility. Can I just say a little humility is going on, which makes it all so much sweeter and just a different place. And of course, elders, and we talk about this all the time, with thousands and thousands of years, elders being respected, and then not as much now. But again, let's move past that. Let's just, hey guys, whatever your age is, do it because of it, and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what fun and goes on.
And Sonny, you free me when you step out there with your dreams. You free me to be, to encourage me, to inspire me to do it. I can't tell you how many young and old people or older people have told me, because you created this album, I'm now inspired to create and step into my own projects.
Whew.
And so it's only in this country that we sort of put certain age groups out to pasture. We're the only country with greeting cards that say out to pasture at 50, which is ridiculous. Where when you look at other countries, like even Japan, for instance, they revere
very much so.
age.
Yeah.
They revere older people.
They're elders,
You
yes.
talked about as a source of wisdom.
Yes.
3 and 4 generations live in the same household.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
In China.
Yes.
In South
yes,
Korea.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so that's
And in India. I mean, in many places.
yes.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I wanted to encourage people to go for it.
I love that.
Yeah, I want to encourage them to go for it.
So I want to let's flip the record over and talk about inspired parenting. Or is it called inspired parenting?
Yes,
Yeah.
inspired
So one
parenting.
thing that I'm really excited about, and I want to play in there or bring people to you to play, is you and I were talking about this before, and Judy Julin, who I believe is the producer of this.
Is the publisher.
The publisher is a great friend of mine, and we've been talking about kids, education, creativity, art, how to rework the whole thing. How I also feel very much, and I've talked about this a lot on the show, about how the American education system, especially for primary and secondary school, is, again, in my humble opinion, quite broken. I've had 2 kids who've gone through it, and now I have, nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews going through it. It just doesn't really fit for the person, especially boys, I'll just say.
Yes.
Boys are not really meant to sit at desks. I know my son would get in trouble for tapping his pencil.
Yes.
Now we find that that's what allows the information to go into the brain, especially for boys. But he gets sent to the principal for that. So I'm really excited about inspired parenting, and in my own heart, I feel like that's one of my places that's always been very, very tender, open, and a place I've done a lot of study and a lot of work before I had kids even. What is it really? And I just believe in it so much, to have to shine a huge, huge light, candlelight, firelight, any kind of light on parenting and childing and all that, because I can say for myself, and then I'm going to let you talk. It's when I feel like I'm in the zone, when I feel like I'm in the groove, there is no better feeling on earth. I just feel like I'm doing God's work. When I'm out of the groove, it's one of the worst feelings that I have. Yeah. So that's just what I want to share with you.
It's been a dream of mine to help create this magazine, because as a minister, and I've been a minister for well over 15 years, I hear parents, they say to me, Reverend Leon, what can I do? I have these questions. What is ADD? What is ADHD? They want to drug my child.
What are boundaries?
Yes. What
What
are the
is
pros and
freedom?
cons? Yes.
What is creativity? What is allowing them to let their, but then socialization, all that stuff.
And so
I think we're really confused.
Yes, and there were many parents who wanted help. They desired help, but real help. And they were done with the fluff magazines that promoted fashion and food, but they wanted real answers. And
even books that were not really on target, weren't deep. They were a little more regurgitating what had been said before, which were not really current information, or just really ancient, phenomenal mom-child connecting, dad-child connecting.
Yes, and so we created an online resource for that parent. We created an online resource, but with hard copies, actual magazines.
Check this out here.
That
My first time seeing
parents can open and get answers. Everything from how to prevent bullying at their schools, how to sit with their child and meditate or be mindful. Mm-hmm. We talked about learning styles, which is crucial. And so it's a magazine that addresses real-life practical issues. And so this parent will be able to get this and more. We've got a whole line of specialists, facilitators,
Fantastic.
editors all over the world. Yes.
And again, products, all of this kind of thing. You know what? This is fantastic, inspired parenting. So how can people get this? Do they just Google it, or how do they get it?
You can go online to www.inspiredparenting.com.
Great, and John's going to pull it up so there's a visual. So yeah, I think this is going to be absolutely fantastic for people to have, and I'm gonna really do what I can to promote this, and maybe bringing some people to you, as I say, and doing some, writings and stuff. Because I was speaking to my friend Faith Rivera, who we both know, and she had a baby at 40, and then she had a baby at 44,
wow.
And little Izzy is all is well. Everything's amazing. Izzy, the baby, is just out of this world, and I am proud to say that I will be the godmother, by the way.
Congratulations.
Yay, thank you. I'm thrilled. And, we talk about stuff all the time because she gets information from people, and she knows what her inner heart says, but then there's the socialization that goes against that. And then I always say to her, there was a great, great philosopher, pediatrician, and psychoanalyst named D.W. Winnicott, who was a writer many, many years ago. He was so brilliant, and one of the pieces of information that he would say to doctors and nurses when he toured in Europe was, get out of the way of the mother.
Yes.
And this was back in the day, and I won't even get into the Dr. Spock thing, but at some point we can chat about that. It's an amazing story. But Dr. Spock would tell you
All
right
you
now.
Trekkies out there, yes.
Well, Dr. Spock, I'll just tell you really briefly. You may not know this. Once upon a time, there was this guy named Richard, and Simon & Schuster called him up and said, hey, we want you to write a book about parenting. And he said, I don't know anything. It's like, I don't know nothing about parenting. And they said, well, don't worry about it. No one will ever read it. But we just need it kind of on the. Yeah.
Wow.
So he wrote this book.
That's the book, huh?
And there's so much misinformation about that. There's, generations were raised with these formulas and these schedules and all of these things that were almost inhumane,
Yeah.
And then he did a big mea culpa and rewrote a book. And many, many, many years later, I think it was in the 90s, you can find it, and it's a huge mea culpa. So here we are. And there's a lot of healing to be done with that. So again, with Faith, she gets that outer information. Then it's like, you know what? This too shall pass. If the baby wakes up in the middle of the night, just get up with the baby for a little bit and then go to sleep. This time, I'm telling you, will pass. And the more love you give a baby from 0 to, let's just say 5, no matter what it is that you are giving that child, you fill that child up so much that whatever goes on later, they can handle it. If you are in this world of I just want to have schedules and I don't want to indulge them too much and all that, I'm just telling you guys, no. It's not about that. It's about filling them up to the brim and over from those few years. And I'm telling you, it feels like it's never going to end. It ends. I'm telling you, it does. And you will be so grateful that you did all that. You will. I'm here to tell you. Because I see my kids doing what they do now, and they went through a lot of other stuff, many years, from 5 to 25. How they handle their life now, I really feel has a lot to do with the fact that they got as much love and time and fun and baking and playing in water and throwing cereal around. It's like, that's what God invented brooms for and a mop. Come on, guys, just play with your kids. Go for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so we'll be doing more inspiring parenting about that. I'm getting all into that now. Yeah, don't talk to me about parenting. I'll do a whole show on that. So let's change to another subject. Let's talk about what you're going to be doing at Revelations.
Well, the Revelation Conference, which is our annual conference, and for the Agape International Spiritual Center, it's our annual conference. It will be held April 28th through May 1st. And
in LA, Hilton?
LAX Marriott.
LAX Marriott.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And
there's still availability, I believe. So you can go on and, Google it and get there. And will there be live streaming and that sort of thing?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we're going to have, in terms of the adult conference, they have a full-page ad. Agape has a full-page ad.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the guests will include Layla Ali.
Nice.
Dr. Malidoma Somé.
Nice, fantastic. You got it.
But there will be several guests at the conference. And so I want everybody to come out because there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
We have a youth conference, and the theme for our youth conference is transformation more than meets the eye.
Ooh,
and so I was sitting there one day watching Transformers, and I thought that there's more to us. In other words, there's a bigger us, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
And many times we operate from the smaller us. In other words, from our worries, doubts, and fears, etc. Mm-hmm. But there's a bigger us that knows infinite possibilities.
And you know what? As you were saying that, I wrote down on my little pad here the word permission. I was watching The Voice last night, and there was this really beautiful Indian woman, young girl, probably 24, and she was singing, and Christina Aguilera was coaching her, and she was like, girl, go for it. When you get to those notes, you're just so holding back. And it was having somebody as magnificent as Christina, I mean, whether you like her or not, the girl can sing, and giving her permission, standing in front of her and saying, go for it, girl, it's okay. Yes. And I think, don't you sort of feel that way, that we look for permission sometimes, but it really does come from us to just say, let's be bolder, let's be bigger, let's just go for it already. What's the worst that can happen?
I think it's a requirement if we really want to live.
It's giving
And,
ourselves permission.
Yes, and giving ourselves permission and not living with regrets. But to really go for it, and when I say go for it, to give yourself the opportunity to express at such a high level.
Yeah.
And it's crucial for us. And win or lose, but what's most important that you stepped out there. I tell the children a lot. I say that when I ask a question or they raise their hand or they get up and share their gift, I say, you know why you won? And they look at me and they say, no, it's because you did it. And because most people are going to be spectators, I told them. I said, they're going to stay at home and be Monday morning quarterbacks. And so when you step out there and give your gifts, you continue to exercise your faith muscles.
Yeah.
You continue to stand in the light.
Yeah.
And so it's crucial for us because if you don't, you'll never know what you're capable of doing. And then when you continue to exercise and work with that muscle, you get better and better and better and better and better.
And you know what is also happening is that we do have a little bit of a resistance to stuff. And then when one gives, so when you have permission and you go for it and just go big, it is actually a lot easier and a lot more fun. Resistance, I remember when my kids would say to me, oh, I don't want to do my homework and, blah, 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 blah. And I would say to them by, dinner time, do you understand that you have been resisting for like 3 hours and how much work and how exhausted you must be? If you had just done your homework right away and just just had gone for it, you'd be done with your homework and have 2 other hours to play without that little, I didn't do it, I need to do it, So I think the resistance muscle is something that we can kind of move aside and move in the permission muscle.
But it does take practice. It does
That's
take
what
practice.
Like using it.
And it does take the awareness that we live in a friendly universe, too.
Absolutely.
Reverend Michael talks about that a lot. Mm-hmm. Even Einstein said, is this a friendly or unfriendly universe? That's the biggest question Einstein had.
Absolutely.
And so I believe we live in a friendly universe.
Yes.
And I think that when we fall, we get the opportunity to get back up.
Uh-huh.
So that's encouraging because now I can I can go out there and try things.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so much more fun. And we certainly have a friendly universe and create a friendly universe when we're friendly.
Yes.
It makes it a little faster.
No, it starts
and
with us. It really starts with us.
If we're having fun and we're friendly and we're kind of playing with our peeps, and we can have a little discernment and kind of follow around and see our tribe and the people. I've noticed in my life there are people who as far as support goes, there are people who really want us to win, and there are people who may kind of not, and it's all good. God love them all, as my aunt would say. And yet let's, we can gather our tribe and play with the people who really do want us to win. And then just go for it and know that if we fall a little bit or look goofy or whatever, like improv classes, when you take improv classes, they want you to go wild and crazy. I remember having Tom Shadyac on the show, and he was who did a lot of the directing of Jim Carrey. Yes. And I remember asking him, wow, it must have been really easy. And he said, actually, it was extremely easy is not the word I would use, he said. We planned so much out so that it gave Jim the structure so that he could then, go crazy. So it's like, but, playing in the sandbox and, just kind of going for it, I think makes a big, big difference. And one thing you were bringing up is listening. And I wanted to say something about that because I had a guest on my show a couple of weeks ago who really shifted my listening as a woman and as an interviewer and as a person, and that was Mark Nepo. And he was for you guys who don't know who he is, check him out, Google him, read his books, and you will thank me. I just know that you will. Poet, philosopher, gorgeous human being. And when he was on the show, he really taught me a deeper listening, as you say, as an interviewer, because I had no idea how this interview was going to go. It was like, wow, I'm going to have Mark Nepo on the show. I was so excited and a little nervous and, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? And he has this way of speaking that's slower.
Yes.
And he pauses. And I was like, who am I to cut Mark Nepo off? And yet, as an interviewer, you want to keep the show going. So it's like, but he's pausing, and I'm just like, he took my breath away. It's like kind of easy for me to not talk and and it just shifted my listening. And it's like, sometimes when I'm with people, I'll be like, okay, I'm kind of waiting for you to stop talking so I can say my brilliant thing that I know you're just going to love and you'll like me better or whatever. And then it's like, there's such a relaxing, when we're talking about the permission, it's like, wow, I can just kind of sit back. I can drink my water and just listen to you.
Yeah.
And there's it's such a peace that comes over me.
What you'll find is that powerful listening draws out the best in each and every one of us. Many times when I have my counseling clients, I sit for hours and just listen. And one thing I've noticed is that they begin to hear themselves. And that's crucial because they start to say things like, oh, Reverend Leon, I feel so much better. But many times I haven't said a word. And so I give them the space and I just listen. And what I'm noticing is I'm starting to draw out things because then after a while they begin to say, oh yeah, I remember now. And they're beginning to get answers. And so it's crucial that we listen, and because we're one.
Yeah.
We're one.
Yeah.
And if you just wait a while and be the observer, things will unfold.
Well, and one thing that I want to say about that, too, has to do with the ego. Like I was saying, being cool or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw something on Facebook the other day and about Mr. Mr. Rogers. This was many years ago or something because Mr. Rogers is no longer with us. But his car was parked somewhere and someone stole it. And then something happened.
Not on the Mr. Rogers neighborhood.
I don't know where it was, but the person returned
Not on the show, right?
Right, but they said, what I found really interesting about it was they said, wow, if we knew it was your car, we wouldn't have stolen it.
Wow.
And then I thought, wow, why, what is of that about that? Like, then this feeling came over me about, the importance or celebrity, which I deal with a lot in my life, with my business and whatever. And then I was like, you know what? Everybody's Mr. Rogers. Like, it's you brought it, you person on Facebook, brought it to my attention that you would have behaved differently if you knew it was Mr. Rogers. Yes. But why? But you don't know what the story of that other person that you might have stolen that car from may have needed it way more than Mr. Rogers. Like, you don't know the story of the humans because you didn't know. So it's all because we are all one. And it was like, it just really brought that feeling of, when I see things on Facebook or when someone's saying something or, when I'm thinking of having a guest on the show or whatever it is, it's like, wow, well, maybe they're more cool, they're more important, you guys are going to like them more or give me more likes or, whatever it is. And it's like, it's so not about that. Like, I've kind of, in my many wise years, have moved to another place where it's like, I just want to listen to what's up. And wisdom will come from everyone. Mr. Rogers will come from everyone. Yeah. There's a little Mr. Rogers in us all.
And then also, Sonny, what's important is that what you put out is what you get back. And so love builds such a force field around us. And if you're that individual who's constantly giving love, circulating love, radiating love, it sort of builds an untouchable force field around you. You can't lose anything. And when I say that, I'm not saying that as a airy-fairy type of thing. But what I'm saying is that you get what you put out. And so it's more, for me, it's more about circulation. I don't do things just to get it back, but it's more about circulation because I try to be a cut above the norm or the lowest common denominator. And so my day is spent early with, how can I share? Who needs my love? How can I give?
Whew, and that has to do with purpose. And what I find is feeling, okay, so for example, for me, I do a lot of things and I work with a lot of organizations. I do a bunch of stuff, as we know. And I can have days like on a weekend or something where I'm just feeling kind of low, like, ooh, and then I realize, why am I feeling low? And it's like my purpose tank is not filled to the brim. And we all have different purpose tanks. Like, maybe it's a little cup, maybe it's a big, huge, whatever it is. And I know mine's pretty big. But whatever, if it starts dropping a little, I feel it. And it doesn't feel good. And so, but I'll just be doing my life, and maybe I'll go on my, email or something like that, and I'll see something. It's like, oh my God, a place I can serve.
Yes.
And I'm like, yay. Oh my God. And then I'm just all zippity doo dah again. I mean, it literally shifts me immediately from, I can be, down or sad, or I can find out something like my sister's moving and I'm really sad about that. And so it's kind of just making me sort of sad. It's like, well, okay, what way can I elevate my mood? Because I think it's important to feel the sadness of her moving, because that's
Yes.
a reality. And
Yes.
and yet, okay, but I got to play with that a little bit. Got to shake that up a little bit. And it really makes the biggest difference. It's incredible.
Who you are matters, and I tell this to the children a lot. Who you are matters to every grain of sand, every blade of grass, to the very air that we breathe. You matter. And there are no mistakes where you sit. There's no mistakes where you stand.
I love that. Speaking of You Matter, let's talk about, I really want to talk about your 2 camps that are going on this summer. I cannot wait to talk about those. So, and I can't wait to be there and everything. So let's talk about them.
I do a camp in Big Bear, and it's called E-Camp, and it has basically nothing to do with electronics, but it's an opportunity for the kids to get in touch with themselves again. So I call it a high-touch, low-tech camp, where we live in a world that's really high-tech. I had a situation recently of a young guy came to me. He said, I was really upset that my sister sent me a Facebook message on my birthday as opposed to calling me.
Yeah.
And just that reminded me that we're still longing for the human touch.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so this camp is about no electronics, no laptops, no computers. They can bring their cell phones, but that's only to call their parents at night. And so what we do is we introduce all the E's, the environment. We look at the environment in a unique way. We look at experiential learning. We bring experiential facilitators, and we talk about teamwork. We talk about resilience. We talk about how to work with one another. We have entertainment because they create their own talent show. We have exercise, of course, but we work with all the E's in
Eating.
a way. Yes,
Great
helpful
eating.
healthy
that
eating. And so it's our E-Camp, and it's one of the unique camps in the marketplace right now, because it teaches them how to get back in touch with like we were talking about, listening, with our humanness, with our basic humanness, and they get a chance to look each other in the eyes and talk. And do you know they love it?
Oh, I'm
And one kid
sure
said,
of
"I
it.
don't miss my cell phone," and I'm thinking, wow.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, that's all they do on a daily basis, at least 7 to 8 hours many times. I don't know what the average is, but many times people, not only young children, but now many adults,
Oh, yeah.
are
Yeah, yeah.
basically on their cell phones.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I'm going to tie in with that, and I'm going to lend you this book. It's called The Bushman Way of Tracking God by Bradford Keeney. And I was drawn to this book about the Bushman. And what I want to say about the Bushman is, many of us may know the Bushman. As far as their way of life, we may feel that, they're sort of primitive, living in the dirt, whatever you guys think. I don't know what you think. But what I will tell you is that they are considered the most sophisticated spiritual entities on the planet Earth.
Yes.
How they behave with the earth, how they behave with each other, the telepathic way. I mean, they're way beyond cell phones. Like the way they can communicate with each other, what they know, how they know, who they know, why they know, is so advanced. It's astounding. We can all learn from them. So everybody get this book. You will be amazed at this book, and I think it'd be awesome for you to read it before the camp, because ideas will come to you about what to do. I'm going to read one little bit to you, I think, and I just opened this. I don't even know what I'm reading, but it's called, or I'm just going to read this one bit. The truths of the most spiritually wealthy people desperately need to be shared with those who thirst for purpose, meaning, healing, and joy. What an irony that the home of the Bushmen, the Kalahari Desert, means the great thirst, from the Tswana word gala. While the rest of the world is thirsting for spiritual wisdom, the Kalahari's people have been waiting to quench it. And they really, this particular person, Bradford Keeney, is a white person, American. I think he's Canadian or American, and he's been drawn there many, many times, and he's been doing ceremonies and things with them for 25, 30 years.
Wow.
And they have been asking and asking and asking him for many, many years to write this book, to bring the message of the Bushmen to the people, to not let their way perish, because the South African are coming in now and their lands are getting very much compromised. So they are very, very clear that they want their message to be continued. And by the way, this is also circulated by Beyond Words, my favorite people, Michelle and Richard, and they have many, many other books. But, to tie in, to really get clear about, it's not back even, it's now it's forward in the being with the tree, the listening to a tree and what the tree will tell you. The infinite number of leaves on that tree. How does the water get from the ground up to the leaves? What's that about? That's not what we normally think of. That's anti-gravity going on. That's sacred anti-gravity going on there. Many, many things that will be taught to these kids that we may never even know as adults what's going on that they're learning. So I so applaud you for doing this camp. So can anybody go? Do people get to your website? How do they find out
Yes,
about it?
you will go over to www.agapelive.com and go over to Youth and Family.
Okay.
And we have the information, the 2016 information will be available very soon.
And people
But you'll be
can-
able to contact me and call me
Okay.
and get more information that way also.
Okay, and guys, a lot of people want to go to these camps, and there's another camp we're going to talk about, so I'll just kind of do this little plug right now, is, you guys can contact you to maybe, if you have some extra bucks, to create, because I know you have a scholarship fund and things like that. So
and we
people
want to take as many
can do that.
young people as we can,
Cool.
especially foster care, the young people that are in the foster care system.
Yeah.
And then we also want those young people that possibly are on the spectrum
Yeah.
and won't get a chance to interact this way. But I
Nice.
found that in nature has such a healing balm.
Oh, yeah.
And and again, without all the electronics in the way, we begin to communicate at such a high spiritual level.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure you'll do. I think it's going to be beautiful. So I really, really, really admire you for doing that. And then I'm also extremely excited about your peace camp in Malibu. So let's talk about that too. Super excited about that.
So I do a peace camp in conjunction with Interfaith Inventions. And we bring young people from various faiths. And we get together and we get together and we have young people from Buddhism, from Christianity, from Hinduism, and we get together and we start a peace dialogue.
Everything. I mean, Jews, Muslims. You have
Yes,
everybody there.
we have everybody.
And
Yes.
if you don't, let me know. 'Cause I'll fill that out for you, for sure. Because I love the idea. of
we
this,
try
and
to
I
make it
like
representative of the world.
Please.
And
Please
they
do
get
it.
together, not only have fun and do, they swim and, of course, they boogie board and all that type of stuff. And they have ropes course. But they also begin to learn about one another in a way that breaks down barriers.
The listening, the
Yes,
dialogue.
It breaks down barriers.
Yeah.
And I encourage them to
Absolutely.
ask the questions, like, for instance, why is there a red dot here? Or what's that little hat about? And I want them to really begin to break all those things down.
And Mythbust.
And get firsthand information as
Yeah.
opposed to just getting it from the media.
And
Okay.
Mythbust. Yeah. Yeah. So that's fantastic. And this
this
is
is a-
going to be
This is in August.
In
I'll
August,
get you
okay.
if you again, we'll have it on our website.
okay. And again, people can donate,
Yes.
some bucks if they can do that. I love that you're doing that so much, and I love the myth busting. And a lot of you guys know that I love to do the myth busting. And I was thinking about a couple things that I've seen. Just even there's a lot going on in the media and journalism, and I feel like I was seeing something the other day, and a journalist was talking about yoga as a religion. There's a school back east, it's in Georgia, who has yoga in their primary school. And then there was an outcrying of, they can't have this, it's anti-Christian and all of this to have yoga in the school. So there was a big conversation going on, and a few of the journalists were saying, well, yoga's a religion, and I just really wanted to point out that, first of all, yoga is not a religion. Yoga was actually designed to allow the body to hold particular body positions to meditate to God. So you can be anything and be able to breathe deeply and hold strange positions that the body normally cannot have the strength to do. That is what yoga was originally for. It's not about anything else. So when I was hearing this, I was feeling like, wow, that's just, sort of irresponsible journalism going on there. So again, the myth busting, and again, the understanding, listening, and the dialogue.
Again, it's educating people.
Yeah.
What's interesting, we live in a time now with a lot of corporate America are giving their office spaces and giving their employees the freedom to perform yoga, even at their lunch breaks.
Oh, yeah.
And they're also giving what we call preventative medicine. Yoga is a part of that. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the big companies, if you do the research, are allowing yoga into the workplace.
Absolutely.
Because they were recognized as more preventative, it's more proactive, it's more about movement. Is more in the area of exercise for them also, when you're exercising your body and your mind. Mm-hmm. And so I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing.
Well, and again, when absolutely in this situation about the yoga, and they was talking about chanting and all that, I want to say, well, have you ever heard of Gregorian chants?
Yeah.
There's chanting in every religion, and there's movement in every religion, except a few where they don't allow dancing, And even in the Quran, where the prayers are done 5 times a day. I don't know if you've ever actually done prayers, but I have. They're not easy. Yeah. The physical ability to actually do specifically what you're supposed to do is so they're talking about, Muhammad was talking about this 1,400 years ago about getting off your butt and taking that moment to pray and to take a breath and to breathe and use the body in a reverential way and move the body and then go back to what you were doing, 5 times a day. So now it's really cool for people because they get off the computer, they get off the couch, or whatever they're doing. And I think that's super important. And I think Congressman Tim Ryan. He's
of course.
Ohio guy, and he has created right next to, you probably know that Congress votes every Thursday, or when they have a bill, every Thursday around 6, between 6 and 7. And so he's set up a mindfulness room. It's there right next to where they go into to vote the hour before. It's there all the time, but people can go in the hour before. Now, do we not love the idea of people who are taking our lives and our children's lives and our grandchildren's lives in their hands to take some peaceful time to focus, center, and breathe and take a breath from all that goes on, to clearly listen, and then go in and vote for our future? Do we not like that idea?
That's why I love the guy. We feature him also in our second issue of
nice.
Inspired Parenting,
isn't that
along
perfect?
with he and his family. And he's helping American schools to get healthier and calmer.
He's
advocating bringing mindfulness.
See that.
He's advocating bringing mindfulness to the schools. And as you know, he was one of the first U.S. representatives, to facilitate meditation in the halls of Congress.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love that guy, and I love that he's really focusing on that so much. And by the way, I have to talk about a couple things that are going on in the world. So we've talked about our camps. Mm-hmm. I want to let you guys know we talked about Revelations, and that's just a really phenomenal community happening thing. Michael, of course, will be there and doing his magic, and he's really like unplugged at Revelations. I love Michael at Revelations. I love Michael always, but 4 days. So much great stuff. Ricky will be there, of course. Many, the choir will be there. There'll be different musical acts. There's just being in that vibe with the food and the people, and for that many days is just such a treat. It's such a treat. So, treat yourself to that if you can.
And you can go on to www.agapelive.com and get more information on Revelation and see the list of the wonderful guests
Yeah,
that
all
will
the
be there
speakers,
also.
and and you know what I do with Agape. By the way, I don't know. Well, you're always there, but I just do my life. I don't go to Agape every Sunday or Wednesday, but I'll just be drawn to go. I don't even look on the website. Like I like to just go and be surprised. I like to just go and see what's happening because again, it's not about the celebrity. It's like
Yeah,
not.
I agree.
It's like I
agree.
know that Michael and Ricky and all your other people who do whatever you guys do behind the scenes create such a field there.
And plus,
that I
you are a
just
celebrity.
trust it.
You're a celebrity, so there you go.
But I just
You don't want to
trust
see
that.
other celebrities.
Well, it's all so fun. But I just love going because I just know it's going to be awesome. And, and just the music, I mean, it's just incredible. I also want to talk about James Von Prague, who's going to be there on Saturday, April 2nd, which is this coming Saturday from this show because today is March 30th at 7:30. So check that out. And that's going to be really amazing. And it's something that Agape has really stepped into in the last 6 months. I mean, actually, Oprah was there, Deepak was there, Ilan Van Zant was there, Dr. Bruce Lipton. I mean, and then now Von Prague is going to be there. And these things are packed to the standing room only,
it
and
is.
1,200 people and 600, at least Skyping in, and it is, or what do we call it, live streaming in,
Live streaming,
and
yeah.
it is so powerful.
Yeah.
And Wendy Zahler does these events, and she rocks, and she just gets the people there, and so it's way more than I ever think when I go there. It's like, this is happening, people. So definitely go to that, and I also want to invite people to Mark Nepo's event that he's going to do April 5th here in LA and Pasadena at this beautiful church, and you can go on marknepo.com and check it out. He's doing a few events, and he's got a beautiful book that's out right now that I want you guys to read that we talked about, just all his stuff. And, what else are we promoting? Because I also want to play a little music before we go out and make sure that you guys, when we're talking about the creativity, the little clinking you've been hearing is us with our metal straws.
Yes.
Because, we're drinking our structured water in our glass with our metal straws. And I just want to remind us all that it's not what 10% of us do in changing 90% of our behavior. It's what 90% of us do in changing 10% of our behavior.
Wow. I like that.
So, and it's the truth. They've figured it out scientifically. So, this is something that's super important. I saw on Facebook there was a crocodile that had a croc, those plastic shoes in his mouth. And somebody made a joke about that, like, oh, isn't that funny? And my heart just said, I hope he doesn't swallow that shoe, because if he does, it will kill him. So, I'm just always thinking that way a little bit too. But anyway, remember, do 10% different in your life and like that. So we've done so much, and I think we've covered like everything. Oh my God. And John is telling us we have 2 minutes. So I want to congratulate you for all of your shifting up in the world.
And I just want to talk briefly about this new EP, the new music that I
please.
have.
That's
It's
kinda what I mean.
Sonny, I've always been a big fan of Rumi, the 13th century mystic, because he saw everything as divine. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to do some music that reflected that. For instance, the new EP is called Dearly Beloved: Songs, Sonnets, and Stories.
Oh, beautiful.
And so it's an open letter to the heart of humankind. And when I say the heart of humankind, because I wanted to express our sacred encounters. Beautiful. And one of the sacred encounters is our love relationships. Mm-hmm. And I wrote this song that's called Temple Made Without Hands.
I love that. So what I'm going to ask John to do is go out with that. And I just want to let you guys all know that these shows are going to be and are now on iHeartRadio. So we're super, super, super excited about that. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and always send your questions in. I get them and I ask them. All these brilliant questions are not just mine. They're actually a lot of yours. Come to Revelations. Come to everything that we've talked about. Treat yourself to all those things. Congratulations on your EP. Long time in coming, and I just so honor you for doing it. So, John, let's go out to that. And remember, guys, you have the power of one. Make it an awesome day, and use your power of one to do something special today.
Yes.
Until next time, this is Sunny Chayes with Leon Campbell Jr. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Music, I hope, but we have.
As I remove the shoes from my feet, and I prepare the place where we meet, I light the fire of passion into the flame of your love. Mindfully, I have prepared for this moment. Carefully, I approach the throne of your love.